Welcome back. Wow, perfect. And then why don't you say a little bit more about yourself and we get dive in because I know that we have a very hard stop maybe in about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, nice to meet you. My name's Rob Napoli. Um, so I know it's evening for y'all. It's afternoon for me in New York City. I'm very highly caffeinated. But anytime you don't understand what I'm saying because my accent or I'm talking too fast, throw both hands up like you're riding a roller coaster. It tells me to slow the fuck down. Just tends to happen. So don't feel afraid to like stop me, slow me down, whatever. Why am I here today? Good question. We're gonna talk about personal branding and how personal affects professional and how to like bring those things across through LinkedIn. I'll show mostly LinkedIn, but also show you how to do it if you want to build on Instagram, if you want to build on Facebook or X. I would still call it Twitter. So we'll kind of walk through that, and then what the heck? And now it said that I'm speaking Arabic. Amazing. Not sure why. There we go. So we'll talk a little bit about that, and we're going to talk about kind of like tactical tips and tricks of like why your story matters, how to share your story, and what that's all about. So I've been doing this for a while. My background's been all over the place. I currently am the chief commercial officer for a Dutch-based company called OmniBoost. It is a hospitality tech company. I lead all of our sales, marketing, and brand. Um, in my previous life, I have recruited for Fortune 500s, recruited software devs. Back in the day, I spent a few years of my life living in Milan, Italy, coaching American football to Italians. Got a master's degree, worked for a sports wearable startup, helped it scale from 5K MRR to 100K MRR in 6 months, brought it to the States, raised $1.5 million in funding, decided not to expand to the States, went back into the corporate world, did a true like New York City corporate experience. Not very corporate of a person. I'm not a very corporate person, but I went through the experience and did it. Then started my own agency, sales as a service, scaled that through COVID to doing over $1 million of revenue and sold it. Successful acquisition. Started my own media agency, wrote a book called The Social Soul. It's all about mastering personal and professional brand. And then I wrote a children's book called Bear Builds a Brand. So it's analog of how parents and teachers can talk to their kids about it on the schoolyard and how it translates into digital space. I launched a podcast called The Bare Necessities of Entrepreneurship, did 115 episodes there. I put that on pause because I launched a new podcast in my current business called Hospitable, all about interviewing how to make hospitality more human through technology. So these are all the things that I've kind of done over my career that have tying all these different loops from living in the Midwest to moving kind of on a whim to Italy to moving to New York, and how to leverage all these relationships, how to leverage these different phases of our lives to build kind of that professional brand that really helped me, well, my personal brand helped me leverage professional. And so we'll talk about how and why. So it's cool that you already have some kind of baseline of this stuff. Also, I know it's going to be kind of a jam-packed 30-40 minutes here, but anytime you have questions, comments, concerns, throw them out. Don't be afraid to just like pop your hand up and go, or even unmute yourself and interrupt me. I could talk for hours, but I don't like to talk at people. I can talk with people. So anything you want, just let me know. So I'm going to jump in. Here we go. Screen share. Boom. Boom. Okay, so we're going to kind of jump into one of my favorite tools. And I love using LinkedIn as a baseline. Depending on how you feel about the platform itself, it's kind of became the premier platform from a business standpoint and networking standpoint. A lot of other platforms have tried. There's some different things like Entree, Blue Sky, et cetera, out there to build on. And so it just kind of depends on what space you're in and where you're looking to build. My biggest advice is when it comes to building a brand, personally and professionally, it's to be where your customers are. I've done the thing where I did all the different platforms and tested them, and there's only one or two that where my customers were, LinkedIn and Instagram. So those are the only two that I focus on. I think it's really important. Yes, TikTok's all the rage, but if your customers are, I don't know, aerospace, not always sure they're going to be on TikTok. They might be on TikTok for a very different reason than actually consuming your content, right? So it all depends on kind of your demographic and your market. But I like using LinkedIn as a whole. So when share the profile and you see this, what jumps out at you? What pops off the page to you? What do you notice first about my profile?
I would say a background picture.
Background picture, yep. What else?
Your own, the picture of your own, or of
My
yourself.
picture,
It's very,
yeah,
very happy.
yeah, smiling. It kind of captures a specific kind of energy. Yep.
Number of followers.
Follower number, yep. What else?
Professional.
Okay. So what I always like to think about is the eye test. When you think of a profile, right? And you highlighted there's this nice banner image. The banner could be company branded, or it could be like a passion, like maybe your favorite city, or like my guy out there with like the colorful mountains, right? Like tying all that together. It could be a passion thing, or it could be a business thing. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It could be of you speaking on a stage, kind of highlighting something that you would love to do, but something kind of captivating. We all have an iPhone with portrait mode or some similar sort of device with portrait mode for all my Android, Samsung, Google users out there. It's really easy to take a good headshot. What I did here is I literally took a picture. And what I like to do is if you're always like, Rob, I'm not good at taking a picture. How I got a picture like this? Honestly, have a friend, usually your funny friend, come out with you, take some pictures, and just bullshit and talk. And literally sit there and just hit photo after photo. Have them look away, have them laugh at you, make a joke. What you'll do is you kind of capture something a little bit more candid with energy versus just like all of us when we just stand there and like, try to smile for a picture. Kind of do that. And then what I did is I took the background off. So I was on a kind of a white background, put it into Canva, use the AI eraser tool, take out the background, use the tool to put on a little orange background, cut it into a circle, and you have this, right? There's also pixel cut. There's tons of tools that can do this. But why is the orange background, like, why do you think I have an orange background?
Because
Any
it matches
ideas?
the design that is in the banner behind the photo.
That's the first reason. So I love that you caught that. Matching the design. I wanted to tie a loop to the brand. What's the second reason?
It's a color that pops out.
It is a color that pops out. So my thesis of my book, The Social Soul, is we don't need more content creators. When we talk about building a personal brand and we talk about these things, what we don't need is more content creators. There's enough content creators in the world. What we need is more content engagers. And so when you're looking at engaging with top content, you want something that when you are looking at, there we go, like this post, right? And you look at the comment section, that orange pops out against black and white, right? What I actually do on a regular basis is I comment on a lot of things. I engage. Number one way to build your kind of influence in your brand, engage with content. You don't need to be a content creator. You really don't. I hate creating content. I like to create podcasts. And I like to speak on things like this, and I usually turn this into different types of content. But I'm not the kind of like guy that's like sit there and think about using the Justin Welsh operator playbook and like posting about my story and that like very thing that you say or like I did this, I did that. So it kind of depends on how you want to do it. But the first thing is this. Because what people will see is they'll see that picture, they'll see that energy. Oh, who's Rob? Right. And then it's easy to kind of see what I do. Now, the other thing that you may or might not have noticed that's important is the headline, right? Because it only shows so much. If I go back to profile here, creating hospital experiences, podcast host, author, speaker, CCO, IG. Honestly, I don't think unless you looked me up beforehand and then figure out what Omnibus was, many of you probably have never heard of Omnibus before. Just like I have never heard of any of your companies until I looked you up, blah, 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 right? So I don't actually care to have the title first. And, titles at times are meaningless. Some people, especially on LinkedIn, will put like a bigger title than they are. CEO of a company of 1 versus CEO of a company of 5,000, very different, right? So what I always like to do in the headline is what is it the thing that you do, right? What's in a couple words in a statement, how can you get somebody to understand what you're about? I work in hospitality tech. Our podcast is called Hospitable. So for me, it's creating hospital experiences. So when people understand, when they engage with me or they see an invite with me or whatever, they look at my profile, they kind of have an understanding, okay, Rob is all about experiences, creating experiences. There's usually 2 parts of the business that does that, sales and marketing, right? Kind of fits into the fact that I run our sales and marketing team here at Omnibus. Yeah, question.
Yeah, so I have a question because we had something similar where Nathan kind of guided us how to create our LinkedIn profile. And he said, don't have anything on that represents your company when you're talking about yourself. So I'm just wondering, in the headline, would you still suggest that I have something that explains my company in the very beginning?
Like, it's more about, yes, if it fits into your passion, right? Like for me, creating hospital experiences is like when you interact with me on any given basis, I want you to feel like you had a good experience, right? Like you enjoyed that it was worth your time to talk to me. Whether anything good happened from it or not, that the experience itself was enjoyable, right? And it happens to fit into my business of hospitality tech. So I played on words to tie it together. And to be fair, I use ChatGPT to think of different ideas of how to like tie these things together. ChatGPT is the best tool because the next thing, before we get into the blocking and tackling, is the about me section. Where is it? It is hard for us to talk about ourselves, especially if you're not American. Americans, we do it better than most cultures. Europeans, especially the Nordics, much more quiet and reserved. I know because one of my biggest clients is Strawberry, based at Oslo. I was in Stockholm for a conference with 3,000 people, and while it was one of the most fun, I will say this: the Nordics can definitely drink. It takes a while to get them to open up and start talking a lot more, right? It's not as a natural thing as it is for Americans, right? So when you're starting to write this story about you, it's usually probably hard. So what I say is just write out your story, like however long it is, like what got you to where you are today, right? Simon Sinek, he talks about business, start with why. I disagree a little bit because most times companies try to find a why that's not there. Start with where you are. What got you to the point where you're standing here today? And why does this matter? And then you find your why, because those past experiences bring you to today. And then your why is built off past experiences. So what I would say is write it out and do this. ChatGPT, this is my story. I would love to turn this into a about me section for LinkedIn, less than 2,000 words. Give it the prompt. Let it see what it comes out. Now, it's not going to be perfect. You're going to still want to put your personality and whatnot, but it's going to help you understand and pull those parts out that allow it to make it quick hit. What I want you to do, and this looks long, but if you read it, you can read it in about 3 minutes because it's really short and punchy on each thing. And my big hack is right here. My journey has taken me from Kansas City to the bustling streets of New York by way of Milan, where I earned my master's and coached professional American football. Currently reside in Brooklyn. I'm a Harry Potter nerd, power lifter, tattoo enthusiast, and on a mission to find the best whiskey bars in the world. Why is that line in here?
You got to show personality.
Shows personality, absolutely. A little bit about who I am, making me really human. But what did I just give everyone on this call? I was a prospect. If you're trying to sell to me, what did I just give you?
Pickup line.
The best fucking opening line you could ever want. Ask me about whiskey, ask me about Harry Potter, and you're going to start a conversation. I have long sleeves on today, but I have a whole Harry Potter tattoo. It's the whole Hogwarts Castle, Hagrid's Hut, Forbidden Forest, Quidditch pitch, the whole shebang with elements from all 7 books on my arm. Right? Full on from shoulder down to forearm. Huge fan, right? So now you've created a personal relationship with me just talking before I even get into business. If you ask me something like that, I'm obviously going to look at your profile. I'm going to look at what your company does. I'm going to see synergies, and I may even bring up business before you do. So if you want to be able to have more meaningful conversations, give people an opening line to reach out to you, because we all get spammed. We all know what it's like to get that, like, oh, hey, Scott, I see you do this. Well, do you ever want more leads? And Scott's probably like, well, if you actually read through my whole thing, like, I actually have X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 right? Like, the amount of times people reach out to me and ask if I want to write a book. I'm like, if you read my About Me section, I've freaking written 2 of them. I don't need help writing a third. And I don't want to write a third. One of the hardest things in my life was writing the first one. The kids' book was super fun. It was for my nieces. Totally side conversation, right? But what you want to do is show you're human, because each one of you, if you are a CEO of a company, if you're a founder and you're trying to build a company today's day and age, you're fucking crazy in the best way possible. Because what you have to deal with every day, all the time, as you scale and grow and be a part of that is hard. The biggest my company was 10. I now work for a 50-person company, and I work hand in hand with our CEO. We talk about it. We literally went from 20 people to 50 people in the last 4 months. And it's been a mess trying to manage that. Right? So when you think about your scaling, you're selling, you're doing the marketing, you're people managing, you're putting out fires, putting out customers, and doing all these things, and investors, it's a lot. Right? So make it easier for yourself. Be human. Give people something to open to you with, and vice versa. Look for those things that you can open with. This is going to help on both sides of the coin. Any questions so far on this? I know it's kind of similar to what you've already seen. We're going to get into the deeper side of it on building your network here, but any questions on the front end? Nope. Cool. Ways that you can do it for LinkedIn. Sorry, not LinkedIn, Instagram. So I use yellow because my company, my old Rise It Media brand, is navy and yellow. So it's yellow background, ties into the brand again, pops off. Again, another photo with a smile. It's actually the same photo, just a little bit cropped differently. Now, I don't have as much real estate to do an About Me section on Instagram as I do LinkedIn. So passionate about whiskey and travel, host, author, and then life is a series of moments and experiences, and then a website, right? So in those 5 lines, you should be able to get a little bit of understanding of what you're going to get from this page. Instagram was one of my biggest lead generators when in my last business, because I posted a lot of content. I did a lot of reels. I had a couple reels that went viral, and I just like while I don't have the biggest audience, I had the right audience because the way that I built it, and I had a lot of people that reached out to me. I do a lot of these type of sessions, so I know a lot of entrepreneurs. They see content. Hey, Rob, can you help with something like this? And it was an easy way to kind of turn that on. But it should be kind of easy to understand what you're getting here. And on this profile, on my Instagram, you get a little bit of everything. So you get a little bit of the podcast, life, family, travel. What I want is to kind of show a full picture. What I don't want is if you follow me on Instagram and you follow me on X and you follow me on LinkedIn, it shouldn't be all the same content. Different flavors of the same content, but very different, little different format, a little different kind of tone. Some things I'm only going to show on Instagram, some things I'm only going to show on LinkedIn. Right? So you can kind of see how there's like business stuff, family stuff, vacation stuff, launch of the book, just all kinds of elements of it. But when you look at this, you can kind of adjust that philosophy always to any sort of thing. And this works well if you're on like a marketplace, like a GitHub or, Hotel Tech Report or whatever. You can see how to shrink and really elevate your game. Does anybody know about this tool with LinkedIn? It has a social selling index. So you can actually see how you compete in the market. If you go to linkedin.com/sales/SSI, you can kind of see how you rank within your network. So my social selling index, I'm in the top 1% and the top 6 of the network. So industry versus network. And you can kind of see my score is 69 out of 100. It's actually down. It used to be 77 out of 100. I haven't doing as much, but you see 13 for engaging in insights, 20 on building relationships, 21 on establishing a brand by having all the things in place, 15 on finding the right people, and then 13 on engaging with insights. The engage with insights is kind of a, new because it's like the kind of featured things and engaging. So it's a little bit different, but it's cool. You can kind of see that you're the average in my network and the average in my industry. I find this kind of cool because it kind of shows me where am I missing. Like right now, I have not engaged enough on the platform, right? I've lacked in engagement. Good on establishing the brand. I've done a good job building the right people. I've done a great job at cultivating relationships in the network. So really kind of cool. It kind of helps give you a sense check. So how do we do this? There's 4 buckets that you should be kind of connecting with on socials to kind of build this brand and create that fluidity. 1, it's going to be your, say, friends and family, yes, but like network, like coworker network, right? So people in your coworkers, but like your this group right here being a part of TINC, like leveraging that network. Other entrepreneurs who are doing amazing things, who are putting themselves out there, like you're willing to like go travel to the Bay Area for a week or 2, right? You're doing this program at 8:00 at night, talking to some, man bun dude from New York City on branding. Like you're spending time doing this to better yourselves and better your companies, right? This is a unique group that you're willing to do this at 8:00 on a Thursday, when we all know that Thursday night's a good drinking night, right? That's the difference between you and everybody else. So leverage those type of people in your community. All of you should be connecting and hyping each other up because all of you are going through the same fucking struggle. That's why you're here. So lean on that community. Have those people. Those are your hype people. What we call our amplifiers, right? And every time one of you has a post that you want to give some love, share it with this group. Hey, posted this. It's a big announcement for me. Can you go show this some love? These type of networks here, these are your amplifiers. So group 1 is our amplifiers, right? There are others that we know, whether it's super well or not, that are kind of going through it with us. So we have that common tie. These are also people from schools or whatever. So I call them my amplifiers. 2 is the people you want to learn from. So these are like your influencers that you're learning from, right? This is like, Tony Robbins down to something more industry specific. For me, some of those people are like my buddy Larry Long Jr. This guy is a speaker and author. Him and I've done a lot of work together, but he is kind of what I aspire to later in my career, being a professional MC and speaker down the road. Like after I get through helping grow a scale up to unicorn level, which I think I'm on that rocket ship now, I want to be able to tell those stories in a bigger place. So he's somebody I learned from. So he's somebody I want to follow and be a part of that network, right? So it can be like somebody that at that level, right? It can be that entrepreneur that's one step ahead of you. So who can you learn from? And they post good content you can learn from and connect with. Another great example of that is this guy, Sean Walchef, who is somebody that is working with Entrepreneur Media, doing some amazing things. In fact, I actually flew out to San Diego last week to see him. We shot some great content together. We have a podcast dropping this weekend on Saturday. That's dynamic on Hospitable. But I learned a shit ton from him. I got to spend 24 hours with him, and it was just one of the drinking from a fire hose, right? And what's great is I shot my shot. So you want to build your brand? When you find those people, shoot your shot. Hey, hey Marcus, love what you're doing at Lightbringer. I saw you do XYZ and it really inspired me. I'm in this space. Would you mind taking 15 minutes to answer a couple questions? Right? There's easy ways that we can open the door and shoot our shot with some of these people we want to learn from and see if we can't like pick their brain. So that's bucket 2. Bucket 3 is the big one, your prospect. Who do you sell to? Right? Who are you selling to? You need to get those folks in your market, they need to be following you. So here's how we leverage this. People buy from people, right? I'm more likely to know Christoph or Nelly than I do their businesses, right? And I'm more likely to connect with them on their personal level and then understand what they do later, right? So you can use search functionality if you have LinkedIn, a search navigator, or if you have premium, there's different versions, but you can kind of do searches for if I want to find somebody at Nike, do all filters. Say I want to look at secondary connections, so people who are not in my direct network, but they know somebody close to me. Let's say only New York, see if there's anybody here at Nike currently. And if you really wanted to put a title, let's say marketing. So here's 13 people that live in New York City that work on the marketing team at Nike that are one connection away from me. It tells you who that is. So some people might be, I know super well, maybe not, but now, right? If I'm trying to sell into Nike at this level, I now also have some good word tracks of different, hey, I know that you know Scott at Intoto, and I was just having a conversation with him yesterday. We were talking marketing stuff, and David, he mentioned I should just reach out to you. I know he hasn't talked to you in a while. I'm not expecting you all to be best friends, but he was also mentioning about how XYZ, right? And now I have easy connection paths to start real conversations. This is how my personal brand and building my network can actually help me in open, just human conversations. And then they can turn into sales conversations. What you need to get good at is starting a conversation first and turning sales second, right? And building that kind of relationship through. And this is how we can leverage a tool like this to create target lists, to find ways to easily pull this off. And like Peter right here, marketing manager, marketing and music. So I might actually, if I was wanting to reach out to Peter, I might talk about music first. I might use music as an opening to start a conversation and then pick his brain. So we have amplifiers, people we can learn from, prospects. 4th group, this is the kind of fun one. This is where it gets a little hard, but it's great. And it's people that can learn from you, people that could work for you, right? This is where you're kind of building your pool of talent to attract those type of people that you want to come work for your company, right? What is that culture that you're trying to build? Try to find those people. And here's the reason why I do all this, right? And I honestly don't give a shit if you get a call scheduled out of LinkedIn. Like, I'm not even trying to use LinkedIn to get calls scheduled. What I love about LinkedIn and what I'm using all this for is eyeballs, right? And the way that we do this is right here. I have premium, so you can see this tool. If you pay for the LinkedIn premium, you have analytics, but it shows how many times my profile has been viewed in the last 90 days, how many searches I showed up in, my follower count increased, and it's only increasing because I deleted a shit ton of people. Because I go through and I purge my network I used to do it every quarter. Now I'm not. Now I do it twice a year. But I used to work in recruiting. Then I worked for a wearable tech company. Then I had a sales and service agency. Then I had a media agency, and now I'm at a hospitality tech. So some people in my past lives don't make the cut in those 4 buckets anymore, and that's okay. And I go through and I started a letter. I'm actually on the G's right now. So I did A, Z, B, Y, and forth, and now I'm in the G's. And I just block off 2 hours on a random afternoon, put on a good playlist, turn all my notifications off. I usually grab a beer or a glass of whiskey, and I just clean up my network. Because when you have bad in your network, they're not going to amplify it. They're not going to comment, because this is why you need amplifiers. If all of you like my post, anyone that's, because I have premium, so this is where the algorithm gets really interesting. If you have LinkedIn Basic, only first and second degree will see. If you have LinkedIn Premium, second and third, and if you have Sales Navigator, fourth and fifth, right? And what this means is that if Scott and N and Nelly and Tom and Marcus and Christopher, all like my post, all of their second, third, and fourth degree connections potentially could see my post. And this is where I'm such a big pusher on personal brand and the eyeballs here, because one of y'all mentioned right at the beginning, I have 9,725 followers, right? My company page has about 1,000, just over 1,000 followers. We're actually like 1.2. Because LinkedIn wants your company to spend money on ads because they're owned by Microsoft. When you post an update from your company page, it's only gonna go to 30% of your followers, and has a very small ability to get extra eyeballs outside of that network because they want you to pay for ads. But by nature, the platform itself allows you as a user to have 300% visibility on a post. So as a founder, you want to drive business to your brand, talk about your business and your adventure and your journey being an entrepreneur, tagging back to the company every time from your personal side of things. Because people love to buy from people. They're going to resonate with you as a founder and CEO more. You're going to have more eyeballs and just more scalability on anything that you're going to post or share. And then that naturally draws eyeballs back to your company and what you do. Now they actually know who you are. And this is the thing that we always think about. We're on this sales cycle. We're always like, we need to sell today, today, today. But sales is a process, and you got to start at awareness. So by building a really curated and cool network and doing these small things, you're going to allow people to know who you are. How many of you spend at least 10 minutes of your day just scrolling on your phone, getting caught up in TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn? Yeah. Thank you for those raising your hands. I know that we're all those people, right? We're lurkers. Humans by nature are lurkers. And guess what? You're a part of their network and you're engaging with great content and you're giving back to the communities that you want to serve. They're going to lurk on you. And they might not respond right away, but when they're at a chance where they need to buy something, especially a service you have, they're going to search you first. The first thing I do whenever I need to buy a new technology, we're actually looking at something for marketing. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my network, like who works at these companies. I'm going to do a LinkedIn search. Who do I know personally in this space that maybe I can call their companies? I have a unique network where I've worked with over 500 amazing startups in the last 2 years. Through doing workshops like this. Like I have some really fucking cool people that I would love to give back to and spend money to if I have the opportunity. And all they did was sit through a workshop like this. But they add me on LinkedIn. Now they're in my network. I'm going to first search them. And I'm like, oh yeah, we met at this thing. Oh, Scott, I would love to learn more about in Toto. I'm actually looking to do X, Y, and Z. And now you have a customer, because what we don't realize in your network today, at any given time, there are 10 people in your network that always buy from you. What people don't realize is that on average, our network is willing to do a lot of work for us. Something about 20% of your network would buy from you, should buy from you, or could buy from you if they knew how with the right activation. If you start thinking about your network and think about all those people, it's like, damn, you probably know more people than you think. You probably have bigger networks than you think that are starting to follow along and pay attention. Think about website traffic and hits and all the other platforms, right? That's a big chunk of business that we don't always know how to tap into. And this is where the content side of the things come in. You don't have to create content, but if you engage with content and you're out there being a part of that, it means something to others, right? Because when you post something and people engage with it meaningfully, it feels good. So give that back. So as we get close to the end, I want to leave a few minutes for some Q&A. my main challenge for all of you, starting on Monday, put a 15-minute block on your calendar. Whether it's the morning, lunch, evening, hell, whether it's on the toilet, I don't care. 15 minutes, whatever platform you want to grow on, your goal is to engage on 5 pieces of content. Engage. It can be like, ideally commenting. Comments are great. If you come in my network, I'm a big emoji commenter. So I drop a lot of emojis, which is great, but it's not always meaningful, right? So start easy, liking, whatever, but think about meaningful content, like meaningful engagement. Hey, Scott, great post on XYZ, love this. Or asking a question, because if you can create conversation in the thread, it makes it more visible. So if you see somebody post something or comment on yours, engage with it. Like, that's how this cycle works. But 15 minutes a day, your goal is to engage with 5 meaningful pieces of content a day. You do that Monday through Friday, right? So that's 25 pieces of content you're engaging with. Easy work. I guarantee you, in a month's time, these numbers will be through the roof. Wherever you are now will probably be doubled in a heartbeat. Simple. Second challenge for you, since you all are going to, most of you are going to the Bay Area in about 3 weeks. You're leaving for the Bay. What you should be doing is searching. One, you should be talking about it starting now. Hey, excited, a part of the TINC Spring Program 2024. I'm with some great companies. Tag all of your partners in this. Tag Nelly, tag everybody. Hey, we're coming to the Bay. We're gonna be there for 7 days. We've got this and this and this event, but I've got some free time for coffee. If you're in the Bay Area and you want to catch up with me or learn more about what we're doing as a business, let me know. I'd love to talk to you. My goal, my personal goal, is 5 coffees with new people who could help me out. And let's see what happens. But don't just post that once, because you know what? It might get lost. It might be at the wrong time, whatever. Post that every couple of days. Guess what? No one's going to remember you did it. It's going to get buried in your feed, right? Second thing, search everyone in your network in San Francisco Bay Area. If they can be helpful for your business, send them a message, let them know. You know, hey, Marcus, I'm going to be in the Bay Area from the 19th to the 27th. I'm there for the Nordic Innovation House program. Boom, boom, boom. This is what we're doing. Reaching out to you because you're in my network. We've never met before. I follow and love what you do. And so there, I figured I'd ask, see if you want to grab a coffee. Would love to pick your brain. Right? And then what I'd probably do, my third piece of it, is I would search for who are some companies, some people, who is your prospects that might be in the Bay Area that you would love to talk to. Do a LinkedIn search, find people in the 2nd and 3rd degree connections, and just roll out a simple message. Hey, Scott, this might sound strange, but I'm going to be in the Bay Area. I'm part of this program. These are the things I'm doing. I decided to do a search for X, Y, and Z, and I'm looking to talk to 10 people doing this and just learn from them. No selling, no hard pitching, nothing. Would you be down? I'm here from this state to this state. I have these tabs open and can make it work. If not, no worries. But if you're not the right person, you know somebody that I should be talking to and you can make an intro, even better. But I'm going to shoot my shot here because I'm really committed to growing my business as an entrepreneur. I'm going to be in the Bay Area and I'll make the most of it. Look, some people are going to just ignore you. That's totally fine. But there's going to be those out there be like, I fucking love that. I resonate with that. Of course, I'm going to give Scott half an hour. Right? What's the worst that could happen? You learn something, right? You have a good conversation, good cup of coffee. These are why, and I know I'm waxing poetic a little bit, but this is why it's so important to utilize that personal brand into a professional relationship. And I think sometimes we get in this stigma of like, this is our personal brand, this is our professional brand. Guess what? As an entrepreneur, you don't have a choice, right? Because who you are as a person fuels the passion for what you do as a business. And that's what makes entrepreneurs so unique. And this is why you have to have a personal brand first. Because honestly, your company doesn't impress me much. Your story to the why that you built the company makes the company the impressive thing that it is, right? Whether that's like, hey, I was at the grocery store and I saw this problem and wanted to fix it, to like, this is what I studied my whole life, to, you know what? I was actually building for this, doubled into this, and realized there was an amazing solution and started helping make an impact. Whatever that journey is cool. And that's what makes the company more special to the building of it all. And you need to share that. I call it our founder story, right? It's your personal brand, but you can call it your founder story. You might hear of an equity story. If you want to go IPO at some point, you have to have an equity story where bankers and blah, blah, and people come in and talk about it, but you got to create that equity story. What's the narrative of what you're doing, why you're doing it, who you're doing it for? And remember that your network gives back in full. We as humans hate to ask for help. It's kind of hard for us, especially as a founder and entrepreneur, right? You might feel like you're failing yourself if you're asking for help because you're the one supposed to be leading the ship. Here's the thing. When you build the proper network, there are so many people willing to help you just because. All you have to do is ask. So put those things out there to the network. Hey, who should I be talking to? Hey, boom, boom, boom. You be human and you're not afraid to do those things. I guarantee all of you can book in 20 meetings through your network in the next 3 months and probably walk away with some value. And it's sitting right there in front of us. We just don't always know how to leverage it. It is time consuming. I am asking for you to do a little bit more on top of all the stuff you're doing and what you're already doing. But if you kind of take that 15-minute approach a day, it starts to open things up. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I got about 10 minutes, questions, thoughts, comments, concerns. If there is nothing and somebody wants to like look at their profile really quick, we could do a quick profile review in a quick minute. Scott.
Oh, super. Thanks, Rob. Resonate with a lot of it. My children walked in. I missed the fourth bucket. What was it that you said the fourth one was?
Building your culture. So people that you might want to work for you, things like that. People can learn from you. People that you're trying to build that kind of like, I call it my culture bucket, like future hiring, the people that want to vibe with what we're doing.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Matthew.
Hey, thanks for that. It was really, really good. Quick practical question around LinkedIn. We're a B2B SaaS company. I saw that you had premium. You mentioned Sales Navigator, pros and cons of each. What would you go for early stage company?
Yeah. Premium. Sales Navigator doesn't make sense. You can do a lot of searching on premium. Sales Navigator only makes sense really when you're at that commercial stage and you're really starting to scale it and grow. It's just a lot of money. And it's a good tool because you can create lists and stuff with Sales Navigator, but most people at the early stage don't know how to utilize it right. It's a lot of money for not a lot of activation. So premium, it gives you great search functionality. It gives you the analytics and some expanded features at a much better price than Sales Navigator.
Yeah. And one follow up on that. Anything specific to do with when you're making posts on LinkedIn to drive engagement? Are hashtags dead? Are they back? What's the any specific tips on that?
Yeah. Hashtags are not dead, but they're not as effective. So it's still good because it helps all the algorithm classify the post. So it's worth having hashtags in, but you only need 3 or 4. What it does is help the algorithms classify your content in the places that you want. So if you don't have hashtags, it is taking the content and like trying to make sure it sees the right eyeballs. But if you want to give it some extra push, hashtags will help the AI tools show it to the right people because it's using the hashtag to show that content in the spaces you want. So they're not strong like they used to be, but they're super helpful in getting eyeballs on the right things.
Cool. Nice.
Yep. Great question. N.
I actually don't have a question, just more of a tip. On the Sales Navigator, as you mentioned, it's quite expensive, but if you are part of the Microsoft or startup program, then you get a 25%, 75% discount. So, yeah.
I mean, fucking hell, if you can get 75% off Sales Navigator, definitely worth. Okay, that's definitely worth it. So whatever Timmy just shared, if you can get a part of it, that's huge because there is a big value to Sales Navigator and building out your like hit lists, and you can do a lot with it to create a really cool network. It's just really expensive if you're just doing that, but if you can get it for 75% off, I will retract my statement and say, go ahead and get it for a year at the discount and run that way. Great tip. Yeah, Matthew.
Back again with another question. Sorry. We are currently building our company's website from scratch, as well as a LinkedIn page. So completely building a brand from scratch. We're a spin out from a corporate and trying to now create our own brand. I'm just going to ask, is there any like common pitfalls that you would see in making like a company LinkedIn page or like a company landing page? Yeah.
Yeah, I love this question. We're actually kind of going through, like, we built our current website twice. One, it was too light, then we made it too heavy. My biggest thing is like your website should make it, and your LinkedIn page, both of them, just like your personal brand page, it should be really easy to understand what it is you do in a quick moment, right? So that first kind of like swipe test, it's the same thing with an email. Like if in 2 swipes to the phone, 2 swipes, if I go down the page and click down on the mouse twice, I should have a really good understanding of what you're doing in that above the line content, that top third of your landing page, or the top third, which is like the LinkedIn page. It should be really clear what you do quickly, and then everything else up. What tends to happen is people try to overcomplicate their story, overcomplicate what they do, make an amazing landing page, but too much into the LinkedIn page, and you actually confuse everybody, especially if you're a spinoff and you're trying to pull those eyeballs from what they knew was one thing, and now this is the spin-off from that thing.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. I made that mistake already. So
I think we're
I'm in
about
the
to make
third
that
iteration
mistake.
of trying to
So
simplify that.
good. Yeah, I think we're about to make that mistake. So good to hear how we're thinking in the right direction. So
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, I do have to jump because I have a 3 o'clock and I need to go prep for. But here's what I'll say: if you haven't already, add me on LinkedIn. As you're kind of going through this program and looking to expand, look, I have 10,000 people in my network. I don't know everybody personally, but if you see 2 or 3 people that you would love to talk to, my offer to you is you send me a forwardable intro email. Look up Roy Bahat forwardable intro email. You send me that. Tell me who you want to send that to. I'll send it. If they accept it and say yes, I'll connect you back. Each one of you, I'll let you, go through my network. If you've got 2 or 3 people as you're coming to the States, send it over. I'll do that all for you. And if I can connect you up, amazing. If not, sorry, but I'll always throw that out there as an offer. So feel free. If you find some people there that make sense, please do. Also, if you add me and you ever want an amplifier, send me a message, and I will more than happy always amplify your content. I love doing that for people. That's what most of my messages are on LinkedIn nowadays, is amplifying content, and I fucking love to do so because I do have quite an interesting network. So if I can be of help that way, let me know. All right. Appreciate y'all for hanging out with me this evening, this afternoon, this morning, wherever you are in the world. Hopefully I'll get to talk to y'all soon, and I'll resource whenever you need it. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
You have to
Thanks, Rob.
run, so we don't
Cheers,
have time
everybody.
for
Ciao.
a huge.
Thank you.
I love that. Thank you so much, Rob. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I know we had a hard stop. We probably went a little bit over, but that was pretty excellent, wasn't it? Yeah. Quiet. Let's just turn off the recording.